God body is simple. It means you see God when you look in the mirror, and that the body of man is God, and that there's no mystery God in the sky. You are God.
Yep, and here we are. What's going on, folks? With another episode of the Anabolic Mind Show. I got a special guest, my homie. But before we get into that, welcome to the Anabolic Mind Show, a place where we talk to people from all walks of life about health and wellness and how they implement it in their lives. So now that we finished that, I got the homie, Tim Van Mourik, and we are going to talk about youth, fitness, wellness, how Europeans differ wellness-wise as opposed to Americans, and being a young entrepreneur. I met Tim last year at an event I was speaking at. We hit it off, kept in touch, and actually did some business together and became some good friends. So, Tim, happy to have you on. Thank you so much for coming. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. First of all, thank you very much for letting me on your podcast. It was something I was really looking forward to. I've been doing great. Been very busy with maintaining my health, looking for the long run, trying to get a marathon on and not get the small sprints in.
I hear you, and that's one of the things that we connected on, because I think it's definitely important to start developing these habits earlier on, because it's a lot more difficult, not impossible, but a little bit more difficult to make changes midlife. But I think it's good if we get the youth started early on health and wellness. It's going to result in a lot of different social changes as well as physical changes. People who work out are just inherently more environmentally conscious and so forth and so on. So I think it's really important to start with the youth. What do you think?
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons why we connected. We spoke about it many times, that I'm a bit different from most people of my age, which is the same aspect you have. You're very much different from the people of your age.
How old are you for the audience?
I'm 25. Okay. 25 years old. How old are you?
I'm reversed. 52.
52? Ah.
I'm reverse it. That's funny.
So we will be reversed for the next 8 years.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, man. So what are you doing? But how did you get introduced to fitness growing up in the Netherlands? With your parents into sports, is sports in the schools? Like, what is it? How did that resonate to you? How did you get introduced?
Well, starting from a young age, I was always thought to be outside, so play around. And at quite an early age, I noticed that I had some athletic abilities because of the way I'm built, the way I just got familiar with sports very easily, and I became good at them at a higher pace than other people would be good at them. So in my early days, I started with judo, because my dad was very high ranked in the Netherlands at his time for judo. So that's why I started with judo as well.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So yeah, and then I've tried a lot of different sports. I've tried hockey, I've tried volleyball, and now I'm playing netball. I mean, it's not a common sport in America, but it's quite popular in the Netherlands. We've been world champions. I don't believe everyone in the world plays it, for 12 years in a row now.
Wow.
Not that I compete at that level, but
right. That's okay. So you've always trained for a sport. You've never actually just went to the gym just to I want to stay in shape. It's always been for activity, you would say.
Yeah, definitely. Because, as a kid, I was very competitive. I always wanted to be the best in everything. But that's also the mindset I have. If I do something, I want to be, the best. that's just something I've always aspired. As soon as I have a game and I have an opponent, my mindset at the beginning of the game is my opponent has to be going off the field, and I have to haunt his dreams.
I got you. And how did that? How about the entrepreneurial aspect? when did that develop in you, and when did you figure out you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and how did the two intersect, your wellness and your entrepreneurial endeavors?
So one of my main traits is having wanting to take responsibility of everything I do. I want to have ownership of the things that I do, the things that I say, the things that happen to me. I don't want to have a role, or I don't want life to be life. So I want to have control of what's happening, and I see control as ownership. So, well, being an entrepreneur is having ownership of your own money, of your own business, of your own life vision, where you want to go, instead of working for someone else's life vision.
Right.
So I think that aspect of ownership is one of the biggest reasons why I want to be an entrepreneur, and I'm being an entrepreneur right now.
Interesting. So are most of your friends entrepreneurs?
Well, actually, I think we all know the 5 rule, like the closest 5 friends, you will be the average of your close 5 friends. But I'm like the well, not the lone wolf, but I always do things my way. I don't necessarily adapt to the people around me. So right now I'm the only entrepreneur in my close friend group, but I know they all have the aspirations to be an entrepreneur at some time. But compared to America and the Netherlands, there's like a stigma where you work until you're 30, 35 for a boss, so you can learn the way a company works, learn the different aspects that there is to running a company, and from that age on, you start your own company.
That's interesting, because here they tell you to be an entrepreneur right off of the bat, but you're saying, yeah, it's more encouraged to actually get some type of mentorship, right?
Yeah,
that's interesting. And what do you think is more effective? Combination of both, or lone wolfing it, or?
I think it's hard because everyone is built differently from the ground up. So right. Personality wise, the stronger traits you have naturally. So for me, it would have worked if I would just from the get-go be an entrepreneur, make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and build everything from the ground up. But I think for a lot of people, safe environment, being safe is like the priority for mankind. Being safe is the main need a person has. So I think it it's different for multiple people.
Right, that makes sense. Different personalities, different mind states, different work sets, different approaches. So yeah, that's interesting, because I know some people oftentimes jump into the entrepreneurial waters without having the skill set per se to be competitive within the realm that they're focusing on. So I think it's important to have a little bit of both. I mean, for myself, I worked in gyms for maybe 15 years before I went on my own and started my business, because I wanted to feel confident training different people from all walks of life, obese people, people who are naturally skinny, people of different races. I wanted to really, people with prior injuries or pre-existing conditions. So, in that sense, I was really able to master my craft of what I was doing, as opposed to a trainer these days who would get a certification and just start training people, but actually have no hands-on experience, working with people. So there's some good and some bad, because also if you stay in the mentorship too long, you kind of lose the urge to go out and spread your own wings sometimes. Yeah. So I would always say a combination of both, but don't stay working for someone too long. As someone 52, you know what I mean? Jump out there, or always make sure you're focusing on your entrepreneurial endeavors as well as working for the person and getting into the mentorship. So a little bit of both, I think, works out pretty good sometimes. So let me ask you, are your friends or peers in your age group, are they as health conscious as you, or is that something that you think is just individual to you? What's the general vibe in like Netherlands, Holland, as far as health and wellness?
Well, I think the Dutch people are...
Not for old folk, for young folk like you.
Yeah, for young folk like me. Well, I think we're very conscious to many aspects on life. I mean, sustainability and global environment. I think that's something that's been taught as well, which the older generation hasn't been taught. But I think people are also aware of their health, physically as well as mentally, more than people used to being in the old days, even before your days.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people have that, but I don't think people have the same are on the same conscious level as I am on at my age. But that's something I'm self-taught on that. So I've really read books, tried to develop that skill, because it is a skill, being conscious. And I think a lot of people just live life as it comes.
Right. Do you feel like it makes you do you feel isolated sometimes? Is it lonely? Because I know sometimes me being the fittest person always, you're isolated. Do you feel like you're by yourself a little bit when you're, having that type of charge and your other peers don't have the same, or are you able to handle it a little bit better? Or what do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it feels lonely, but because I'm conscious, I'm aware of the fact that there are not a lot of people of my age group that have the same level of consciousness as I do. Mm-hmm. A good example, last weekend I was at my grandmother's house. We have like the same way of thought. She has been a guru in India for like 20 years, so she's very high on the level of consciousness. She also teaches a lot of bright people, so bright minds, like lawyers, psychologists, doctors, and whatsoever. So she coaches them. And we spoke about this as well, because for her, even at her age, it's hard to find people with the having the same consciousness. Right. So for me, it's very hard, but I'm a bit like a chameleon. I can adapt to my environment. But having conversations like this with you is very hard to find with my peers or people of my age.
Yeah, even for my age here, because for different reasons. I think because you guys, it's more of an age thing, because most people your age aren't feeling the ills of not taking care of themselves yet.
Yeah.
So there's no, it doesn't resonate to them. People here are just like unconscious health-wise. You've been so conditioned through the media.
Peace, fam. I want to take a break from today's episode to personally invite you to the 𝙈𝙤𝙧 community. This is the community where I'm hosting all of my fitness challenges, giving all of my tips, where you can interact with me and my guests. Join the community. It's 100% free to sign up, and we'll see you inside, man. Back to today's episode. Peace and love.
Commercials, television, food shows, just to keep on eating. And, if you ever came to the States, everything is supersized compared to Europe. The same drink, it's like 30 as opposed to 12 ounces on top of that. So I think it's just a lack of a programming here, and people just not being conscious of what the rest of the world is doing, because I think, the overseas, you guys are more preventative. You're like, we don't want to get like the United States. So what can we do now? Yeah. we're more reactionary. Okay, we're out of shape and obese. Let's go get some prescription drugs.
Yeah.
So it seems to be, to me, on a whole different vibe, But that's what makes Europe interesting to me, because so many of the foods here are illegal there because of toxicity. Yeah. So many of the cereals, even the breakfast cereals, a huge amount of breakfast cereals, people are not aware, just because of the food dyes and the other ingredients that are toxic that it has in it, you can't eat in the Netherlands. So when you go there, you're 100% eating healthier, and people are riding the bikes.
Yeah.
So they're getting activity. You see 70-year-old people riding the bikes every day. So yeah. It's a whole different, which is fascinating to me. When I get there, I'm always staring like, damn, these old people got 2 grocery bags in one hand, holding the bike on the other hand and riding, where here, they can barely cross the street.
Yeah.
So it's always shocking to go back and forth and see the difference. But what are your long-term and short-term wellness goals, and what are your long-term and short goal entrepreneurial goals?
So if I focus on the wellness one first, I don't really have short-term goals, because right now I feel like I'm in a good situation with my health and with my wellness. As a young kid, I always aspire to do a triathlon, but I really despise running. So the cycling and swimming wouldn't be an issue, I believe, but I would really have to give myself a kick from behind to do the running part.
Right.
And so that might become a long-term goal to do a triathlon someday, just to test my mental capabilities, doing something which I do not like to do, but still doing it. And long-term, I want to be able to feel fit and play sports and play with my grandchildren and until the day that I'm not here anymore.
Yeah, quality of life is important.
Yeah.
How about entrepreneurial?
Entrepreneurial. I've actually been thinking from the day I was at my grandmother and the times that we have been in touch to quit my job, which I'm having now in 1 or 2 years. So before I'm 30, I definitely want to have my own business. I actually want to start a podcast as well. I think we spoke about it earlier as well.
Right.
I want to have a podcast that's focused on balance, so balance in life in general. And the long-term goal of entrepreneurial would be, I want to retire when I'm 40, 45, like financial-wise. So I want to be financially free at that age.
Right.
And then I just want to do good and see where I can help.
Philanthropic, like charity and stuff like that.
Yeah, charity. I've one of my goals actually on my whiteboard I have on the door is starting with a concept of a charity I want to start in the Netherlands.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah, I'm looking to restart my charity with the kids. Is something that I've always done. I haven't done in the last 2 or 3 years. Is really get into the community and start training and working. But moving to the West Coast, resettling, I haven't had a chance to jump back into it. But looking forward to doing some stuff in the Netherlands as well. Getting the youth excited about health and wellness. Always something that near and dear to me as a parent, and just knowing that the youth are the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Tim, what's the difference between working entrepreneurially with someone your age and then working with someone entrepreneurial my age? Can you tell me what the biggest difference is?
Yeah, experience, obviously. I mean,
is it hard? Is it harder to get a new idea through to someone who's older? Do you find that?
Oh, no, I think the youth is very influential. I mean, everything goes with a hype. You will see that with social media as well. So I think it's easy to become rich being an entrepreneur, but I think it's hard to get wealthy as an entrepreneur. And I don't think many people will know the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Being rich is being an artist, having one hit song that will provide you with like 10 million. I'm just stating a number. Or being a well-established artist and being able to reap the fruits of your work for the rest of your life. That's the difference between being rich and being wealthy. And it's easy to become rich right now because of cryptos, other easy investments. Like even the guy that thought of the fidget spinner was like a hype for 1 or 2 years. He got ridiculously rich, but he won't be able to build wealth with the fidget spinner.
Right. Unless you invest that money.
Yeah, but then it's not the fidget spinner that made his wealth. Well, it's the fundamentals, but it's not his business is not becoming the wealth he's building. So I would be looking more into a business that will, not be an empire, but will persevere on the long run as well.
Smart. And let's talk about your diet, bro. What'd you eat today?
Today is a cheat day. I have to be honest.
Okay, that's good.
I'm vegan, so I try to eat as much vegan as I can. Labeling myself as vegan, I think my fellow vegans wouldn't agree. So, but I try to eat as healthy as possible today. There has been some candy, donuts, and chips involved. I also had a relaxing day with my girlfriend, so we're just watching some movies and eating comfort food. But normally I would eat very healthy. I start my day with half a liter water. Then I don't eat anything other than fruit until like 11 or 12. p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So my body is fully cleansed.
Right.
It's mostly cleansed.
You're intermittent fasting.
Kind of. Yeah, apart from fruit and fruit. I do not eat anything else. Well, I eat one protein bar because after the protein bar I take my capsules. Mm-hmm. So it's easier to digest the capsule while to take it in. Right. And then for lunch, I would have something like crackers with avocado, hummus, and spices. And in the evening, I would eat something healthy with veggies and something else.
Yeah, you're very focused. How much sleep are you getting per day?
8 hours at least.
Wow, so you're focused, man. You're doing great.
Yeah. I'm very strict.
Yeah, you're very strict. And how often are you training per week?
I think, well, it differs now because before I had my holidays because the holidays, well, they made the rhythm a bit harder to maintain. You know which holidays I had, so it was hard to maintain it. But I believe I work out like 6 or 7 times a week, sometimes twice a day, some days not. But I work out like 2 or 3 days in the morning. So before I go to work, I go to the gym. And then I have 2 trainings in the evening for my team sport. I do the netball sport. And then I have Saturday, which is all focused on game day. So I have a game.
Wow. And wow, that's a hardcore schedule, but you get 8 hours of sleep, and your nutrition is right, so you feel energized with that.
Definitely.
And how about your flexibility? How often are you stretching?
Oh, stretching. Well, after my warm up.
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
So I'm not really focused on stretching. I do have like a yoga mat at home, but I try to leave home as soon as possible because I don't associate home with working out. So like in the morning when I stand up, within 15 minutes I'm outside with all my stuff to go to the gym. But I should start flexing, not like flexing my muscles, but training my flexibility.
Yeah, injury prevention, super important. Yeah. What was I going to say? How about meditation, visualization? What is your mental regime? What do you do for your mental wellness?
I think my mental wellness is one of the wellnesses that I am the highest level on because that's something I'm focusing as well. I do, however, meditate a bit less than I used to do. Mm-hmm. I used to meditate like 4 to 5 times a week, so mostly weekdays and sometimes in the weekend. But I've been a bit lacking on that department, because I didn't really necessarily feel like I needed it, because I saw the benefits that I had from meditation.
Right.
So as soon as I notice I need to meditate to relieve some stress or get my mind clear, I will meditate. So it's more or less become an event.
Right. When you feel like you need to, then you do it. But you do have a process. Do you feel like most people your age, people you hang out with, they have a system or a process for their mental wellness? Do you think they consider it, or they're just going day to day? Like,
it's not nice what I'm going to say now about my generation, but I think for their mental wellness, they will either smoke, drink, or do drugs.
Oh, that's real. That's real shit, though. That's real. Yeah, I appreciate your honesty. Yeah. Okay. So you're definitely a rarity on that end. They don't really take it. But however, I do think that the younger generation is much more conscious mental wellness wise than my generation. So at the same
definitely.
They may be self-medicating more, but I think they're conscious of, hey, I got some issues I need to
I need to resolve.
Yeah, I need to resolve some way. Look, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think,
but and I think therapy is also much more acceptable these days.
Definitely.
So people are more apt, the youngsters are much more apt to say, I need help, as opposed to us who are like, internalizing, keeping it inside, and then, exploding at some point. What do you think?
Yeah, but I was a bit harsh with saying everyone would go smoking or drinking or doing drugs. I do think what you said, that generation now is better, that is than the earlier generations are. But I don't think people realize what the long-term effects are of doing drugs, smoking, and drinking. They just use it as an escape, but they're not aware of the long-term effects it has, and they are a bit, how do you say, I'm looking for the English word for it, or a Dutch word that describes it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
They're a bit too, well, sober, but sober in a, I think you know what I'm saying, sober about it. So they think, oh, it's not going to affect me that much right now, so I don't care.
Yeah, they're not thinking about the long-term repercussions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. But also part of growing up to a certain extent. I think, people in all countries do that. Kids, they may be a little bit experimental. But if you're health conscious and you're experimental, you're less apt to go overboard than if you're just experimenting with stuff. So
Yeah.
I always say, I speak in the schools quite often, and I'm like, listen, guys, it's not that me talking to your kids is going to stop them from having sex, because they're going to do sex, but it's going to have them have respect for their bodies. So they might put on a condom having sex.
Yeah.
Because they're into their fitness and health. So, it's not oftentimes it's going to stop you from doing it, but it's also it might prevent you from, going crazy with it, so you have to,
Yeah.
I tell my rock star clients, I said, you got to balance the good with the bad. You can't be doing 20 drugs and then work out twice a week and think you're going to get a benefit out of it. So you have to be doing more positive than negative in your life.
Yeah.
Basically. So, try to use moderation, have some fun, be experimental. Don't kill yourself though.
No.
and remember, you got to be productive, So what advice do you have to the youth right now, entrepreneurial wise? And it's interesting because I've been flown out to Copenhagen to train folks there. I've been flown out to Netherlands to train people. I've been flown out to London to teach master classes and do stuff there. And I find that, people are much more receptive to health and wellness there than here. Is that because I'm an American and it's a novelty, or or they actually health conscious than Americans? I wanted to ask someone who's from Europe that, is it because the message, the vibe is a little bit different because of somebody American talking it, or are they genuinely more interested than you think the U.S.? And have you been to the States before?
I haven't been to the States. It's one of the things that's on my bucket list, though.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you think? You think people there are genuinely more enthusiastic health and wellness wise, as you see from the States, just what you're watching, or you think it's just because American novelty?
I do think people are more generally interested, but I also think that's because of the geographical statistics and the statistic country-wise. I mean, if the people around you are fit, you try to aspire to be fit as well. So in America, like 80% of the people is obese. You're gonna adapt to being obese as well. Well, normally, but
that's real.
So I don't necessarily think it's because all the people want to be fit, but we are all living in one big horde with each other, and everyone wants to be like everyone else. So if you live in an area where everyone's fit, you want to be fit as well. If you live in an area where everyone is fat, you're going to be fat as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to discuss for the American viewers because we live in such a bubble. We're not even on the same time, the same metric system, the same weather, temperature, degree. So America's in quite a bubble than the rest of the world. We're not really aware of how unhealthy we are and how people outside of America perceive us. So that's the reason that I asked you that question, so people can really be like, wow, 80% of us are obese, or how we appear to that from other people. So it's kind of a wake-up call to Americans. So yeah, I appreciate that as well. And also, the healthcare structure is different there. The government pays for a large portion of your healthcare. Here, you're more responsible financially for your healthcare, so they profit off of you being sick here.
Yeah.
There, the government has to pay, so it's more cost effective for them. Like Copenhagen, for example, to fly me in to talk to the community, train them for a week or two, than to have that same population taking insulin for diabetes medication.
Yeah.
So they're more apt to spend money preventatively than the United States, who only it's for profit, so they don't care if you get sick or not.
Yeah,
so I think that's also a huge factor.
Yeah, I think that also has to do with responsibility, because in America, it is your health is totally your own responsibility, as well as the effects it has on your financial well-being. Like you said, in America, you don't have a healthcare system as good as in Europe, but
Peace, fam. Before I end today's episode, I just wanted to answer a question I frequently get asked. Number one question, how can I get my content out there? How can I interact with my audience? And my answer is always 𝙑𝙧𝙧 Studios. This is where I'm getting all of my stuff edited. This is where I'm posting all of my challenges. This is where I'm interacting with all of my fans and followers. This is where I'm giving all my fitness tips. This is where all the people, all of you people can interact with the people who I'm interviewing with the podcast. You can get better insight. I suggest you do the same thing. It's 100% free to sign up, and I'll see you back inside. Thanks for watching.
A lot of people don't tend to take responsibility for things. And I don't mean it in a bad way, because there's a lot of things to be responsible about. But in America, if you have to be responsible about your health as well as all the other things, some of those things will be lacking. And in Europe, everything is taken care of, so you don't have to take responsibility of your own health. Well, obviously you do have to do it in some departments, but there's always something or someone that will take care of you if you are caught lacking.
Right. So you see pros and cons with that as well.
Yeah, definitely, because you can benefit from the system. So even if you're living an unhealthy life, there's a safety net, which in America there is no safety net. So if you fall, you're going to fall on the ground. But I do think because the safety net is there, people become more aware of the safety net.
Become
what I'm saying.
More lax. They're not as ambitious.
Yeah,
you would say. Yeah, it's an interesting assessment. So how do you personally maintain your edge or your ambition in an environment that's not necessarily super competitive?
I think building habits. I'm reading a book right now about atomic habits, it's called, and being focused. So, and the third thing, not caring about what other people say. I think that's one of the most important things, especially right now with social media. Everyone has an opinion about someone else. Even people you don't know will have an opinion about you because they see something on social media about you or whatsoever. So the three things will be habits. Make sure you have a system in place which you follow with building good habits, healthy habits, and being disciplined about those habits. I'm not always motivated, but I'm disciplined. I know I will do it, but I can lack motivation, but I have the discipline to still maintain the structure and perform the habits, which also gives me the space to remain the focus I want to have on building my goals.
That's what's up, man. I want to talk about your girlfriend now. Let's talk about your girl, man. What kind of shape is she in?
My girlfriend is also in a good shape. She works out regularly. She's actually on the same sport team as me. Well, not like team in the same team, but on the same how do you say it? The same club. Okay. Same club.
Is that where you met?
Yeah. Well, we actually met way longer when we were both like little kids. We used to live on the same block, but then the romance didn't spark yet. That came along later when we were in the same club.
All right. And who approached who first? How did it go? You saw her and then you were like, "Hey, my name's Tim. How'd you do it?"
Yeah, well, we already knew each other, but when I came back from India, where I lived half a year for my internship.
Wow.
What were you doing? Think then it started.
Wait, what were you doing in India?
I had my internship in India for my study. So I studied business engineering. One of my aspirations was to do an internship outside of Europe. I was the only one with the person whom I was with that did a study abroad of the 300 people that did the study. And I had a goal that I wanted to study abroad. So in the end, I got a internship at an international company in Bangalore in India. And that internship was for 4.5 months. So I lived there, and that was really pretty cool.
Wow, yeah, that's dope. It must have been life-changing, huh?
It was. It definitely was. I mean, I wouldn't be the person I am today if I wouldn't have gone to India.
Wow, wow. Yeah, I can't wait to go. I've never been, but I can't wait to go. Definitely.
You should.
It's incredible place, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back to your girl now. So you saw her, right? You guys were in the same club, and then what happened?
Yeah, we just got around to talking, and I remember when we had our first date, we just play like Mario Kart and the Wii games. There was no advanced PlayStation whatsoever, so just the silly easy games like the Mario Party as well, like the mini games. And we just hit off really well at the start. I know she was a bit anxious because we were on the same club, and she was like, "Oh no, what if things go wrong and we would still see each other every week?" But I would make sure she wouldn't be anxious about it anymore.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. And she's on top of the diet and everything. She's healthy. She's on the team. She works out as well. What about her?
Definitely.
What about her entrepreneurial viewpoint? You guys connect on that level as well?
Well, I think she's more focused on helping people. She's doing. She might start her own practice or something like that. But she's currently still studying. She's doing medical psychology, so she will help people that battle with a mental, well, not disease, but a mental. How do you say it? Struggling mentally, which leads to a physical form of pain. So mental pain and physical pain are connected for these people, and she will try to help those people understand the pain and well, take the pain away and make sure their life gets better.
Well, that's dope, man. I'm looking forward to giving her some pain next time I get there. We get a session in. Tell her I said what's up.
Yeah.
So give me your and it's been great talking to you, and I think it's important for you to check out a good example, man. You're very focused for a young man, so I salute you. Definitely more focused. Definitely more focused than I was, and I was 4 years in the military at 25. I'd already finished the military, and you're definitely still more focused than I was. So definitely big respect. But give me three tips before we close out. 3 tips you can give to people your age, entrepreneurial-wise, and 3 tips you can give health and wellness-wise, and then we'll close it out.
Entrepreneurial-wise, the first one I would say is just get started. Try to start with doing small things, learning from that, and as soon as you get experience, build the how do you say it? Make it harder every time. So build up the foundations, the level. Just level up each time. Yeah, the level up. The second one would be find people that are likely minded, so have the same mindset. I had a business club with 2 of my friends. We would meet every Thursday, and that really got the ball rolling for me, because you can think you have all the knowledge in the world yourself, but in the end, you'll achieve more as a team. I really like the formula 1 + 1 is 2, but actually 1 + 1 is 3, because you get a better outcome with 2 people than you get by adding the same outcome.
That's true.
So yeah, we have the first one. Start small, but start. So press start, because otherwise you're not playing if you're not pressing start. The second one is finding like-minded people. And the third one is do not be afraid of failure. So
those are great, man.
For me, I mean, I've lost money in investments, but it was just money. I mean, I know I can learn from it and do it better the next time.
Right.
So those will be the 3 tips for entrepreneurial, and I hope people will use them.
Those are great tips.
Yeah, thank you. And for wellness, be disciplined. So, well, of course, you can have your cheat meals like I have today, but also remain disciplined about what you're doing, what diet you are following. Work out regularly. Well, I mean, that's the easiest tip, but even the easiest tips are the ones you should use. If you don't do the simple things, you're not able to do the hard things. And the 3rd tip for wellness would be know yourself.
Yeah.
And I have to explain that a bit more, but for me, I've spent like 2 years of my life between 20 and 22 getting to know myself, looking for the boundaries I have as a person, as physically as mentally, so I know what I can expect from myself and what I can do and what I cannot.
Hey, man, very well said. Very well said, bro. And how can people get at you, man? If they want to contact you, if they want you to do some speaking, if they're interested in your podcast, what's your IG? Or how you want
well, my Instagram is my name, and then I believe 96, because that was the name I was suggested by Instagram. So I just took it. People can search me up on LinkedIn as well. They can just look for my name. I'm on Facebook as well. So yeah, people can find me there. And if you have questions about how I'm doing things at my age, if I can help give structure to your life, because I think that's one of my strongest points, yeah, hit me up, and I'll gladly help you.
Hey, that's awesome, man. This was a great interview, and you had insights well beyond your years, man. So definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're on a great direction. I can't wait to see, what happens, man. So we're definitely going to stay in touch. As a matter of fact, I'll see you next month.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to it.
As am I. So hang on. I'm going to pick the outro, and then we're going to talk afterwards.
Yes.
You
Great.
guys out there in podcast land, have a great day. Tim, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace and love. Watch your diet. Take care of yourselves.